to see you. Hello, friends. Hello. There could be one of you out there. There could be 100 of you out there. I'll never know in a way. Here I am, sitting in the Little Empire Studios, which is a room in a garage. It's kind of the best place to start a small business. Let's be honest. Most great start businesses, you hear about them starting in a garage. You don't hear like, oh, Apple. You remember Apple? Oh, they were great. They started in a mansion in Manhattan. No, you don't hear about that. Starts in a garage. Tiny Tina, hey, good to see ya. Others out there, you might be out there too. Welcome again to another 3 o'clock drawing class. Again, the idea here is I'm going to try to get myself on a schedule. Right now it's going to be Wednesdays at 3. That's what works for me. That also works for people out west who might have kids, so it's noon out there, Arizona, California, those sorts of places. And that might change over time, when the schedule is. When Renaissance festivals start back up, I'll be working Renaissance festivals, and some of my rehearsal schedules and other things might have to change it, but I'll try to, once I get on the road, figure out the best day of the week. It still might stay Wednesdays at 3, and I can work rehearsals around that, but it might be earlier, might be later. We'll see how it goes. Doesn't sound like anybody's complaining yet about the schedule. I mean, honestly, this is only the second time we've done a week-to-week schedule, so round of applause to everybody. Everybody here. Everybody there. I have a little bit different setup today. You see right now I have a camera that's going to be in the view a little bit. I'm still working out. I got a little webcam instead of having my phone up above higher and have that focusing, unfocusing. I picked up a webcam. We'll see how this goes. It looks pretty good on the table. I found out recently some people use like a DLSR, like a nice photo camera that they can hook up and use as a webcam. I have one of those. I don't know if it'll work. It's a whole nother process we'll have to get into, but if I figure it out, I'll let you know. And then I would have a better camera up top to do the whole table thing. There's room for improvement, and that's what I like. There's room to grow. I'm not the size of the aquarium yet. You guys know about that, like official grow the size of the aquarium. Not literally the size of the space in the aquarium, but grow to fit the size of life inside that aquarium. At least that's what I've heard. I like the saying, so let's go with it. Today, going to spend about an hour. Going to draw, maybe a little bit more. The lighting's kind of crazy coming in, like there's some sunlight coming in, but I have these 2 bright lights, like right here, that are down on the. Too much hand movement. Too much hand movement, Louie. There you go. Moving your hands too much. Anyway. You guys are looking good out there. I'm feeling good. We're going to draw some maps. Here is a map. I drew this map. And then I printed it out. So there's pieces of a map. You see you start. This is for a new adventure coming out that Louie and Jimmy Make Games. I should have that icon up here as well. Jimmy and Louie Make Games. We're going to put out another D&D adventure this month. In a couple weeks it should be out. It's in the final stages right now, getting the map done, getting the writing done, putting it all together in the book. I will be streaming some of that these next couple nights. Maybe even tonight I'll be streaming some making of that module while the laser cutter is going, things like that. If you want to check in back later for some work streams. But again, here is a map, a dungeon map. You'll notice these spaces, these squares, rooms, rectangles, circles, like all these spaces here on this map, right? You notice those. I did this map. I created this map through a technique I've seen some people do that I don't know what to do to draw a map. I can't draw a map. I can't think of the rooms or the layout. What they did was two ways I've seen it. One with dice and one with a bag of beans, dry beans. One, you roll out some dice. Hey, old dirty. Sup? Hayes, maybe you're out there too somewhere. Sup, y'all? 2 ways to do the mapping. A world map and then a dungeon map. A world map is more like the continents or the edge of continents or a zoomed in continent, lake area of a map. That's called a world map. It's pulled out some. And then a dungeon map smaller. The world map, you throw a handful of beans down. And then you kind of arrange those beans, push them around and kind of arrange them into shapes. Then you trace that shape, and that gives you your continents, kind of the beginning of your world. Then you can fill in details from there. Some people use different types of beans, or like, those are the mountain ranges, things like that. And then today what we're going to do is a dungeon map, where you could use dice for this. For this map I showed you, like that's a 4-sided dice, 6-sided die here, 10-sided die. Like these were dice that I rolled out, and they generally landed in an area. Then I pushed them around some. You don't have to go exactly with whatever rolls, but it gives you an idea. You can kind of look at it, and then I traced around those-ish to kind of give me some rooms that then I connected together and stuff. So we're going to do that today with some dice and some found objects laying around if you don't have a handful of dice. I also have a tiny acorn, a little chess piece, an Allen wrench, base of a Lego stand, and an eraser. Also a quarter. You can guess the date on this quarter. It's yours. Let's see. You can guess it. You can tell I need my reading glasses on. Okay, if you can guess the date on this quarter, it's yours. I will mail it to you. Hey, big winner. You only get one guess, all right? Chill out. All right. Let's, of course, start with some exercises. Getting our hands loosened up, getting our brain going a little bit, and make sure you have your stuff. We'll go over that in a second here. But mainly also your water. Cheers. I have ice cold water here. That's nice. And then to balance that, I have some red hot coffee here. So there you go. You guys, you're close on the dates. It's newer than that. It's newer than that. Oh man, you could have won a shiny quarter. Oh, it's a newer one. There we go. No date on the front, I don't think. Date's on the back. I'll flash it real quick. Oh, whoa. Maybe if you pause the screen. We'll let anybody else who wants to get in there try to bet. Close though. 1982, 1988. Both amazing years, y'all. Good times. Remember the rough days of the 80s? When everything was hard and difficult? It's always going to be hard and difficult for some of us. And it's hard and difficult for friends and family right now. So stay strong, stay together, look out for each other. Don't forget to check in with a friend or two. Just give them a call. You don't even have to check in. Just 1990, close. Give a friend a call. Contact them through Facebook. Just reach out and say hello. Been thinking of you. There's somebody on that list. Just get out there and do that. Okay, for me, for Uncle Lou. Thank you. 1990, no, sorry. It's newer than that. This is a newer one. I'll give you guys a clue. It's in the 2000s. But you can only pass that clue on to somebody else now because you can only get one guess, everybody. So I'm sorry, but Tiny Tina gets a little edge there. Let's switch over to pay-per-view, see how the new camera works. Right here, this little guy. And then we'll do some practice drawing. Here we go. Oh, look at that. This is a box that's holding up the camera. You'll see if I go up from here, you'll see my finger show up. There it is. There's a little green light there that means like I'm on. This red one over here is something too. Here is the piece of paper. I can center it a little more. You can see it focuses pretty good on that pencil. So we're going to do pretty good. Again, this isn't the final step. This is just where we're at right now. Good? You can hear me. You can see me. 1 in 20 odds, exactly. Wow, good job. Old Dirty with the math whiz. We're going to hire you to do the books next, all right? All right, what you'll need for drawing class today. Pad of paper. Comes in handy. If you don't have a pad of paper, a sheet of paper. Anything around, I don't recommend a napkin unless you have a ballpoint pen and you're in a bar. That's the only place you really want to use a napkin to get some drawing done. Then it's great. You might have a crazy idea. So a pencil. I like to have a couple sharp pencils nearby. Also have a pencil sharpener. Just to prove that it's real. real. Pencils, I like to use these polymer erasers. They work really well. Best place to clean one of these is on the back of your chair. Just don't be wearing a light shirt or it'll rub back off. I try the side of the back of the chair behind you to clean off those erasers, or your carpet. And then for me, I use these micron pens, which are available in most craft stores for a small amount, maybe $10, $15 for a set of 5 or 6 of them, and you can get different sizes. My favorite to use is this graphic one, is like the most used outlining pen. And then I have 2 smaller tips. This is a little smaller, and this is smaller than that. As you can see here, we'll see if we can show you the different tips here going down in small scale. Let's see if we can get that in there. You can see that in there pretty good. Graphic one, 08, 005. They get smaller and smaller as you're doing finer and finer work on the page. Nice thing is these lids also have a number on the top. So if they're sitting in a jar, you can see the top of the lid and see the number right away there, which is a good way to use them. Anyway, just a little something before we get into it. Glad you're here. Everybody have a sip of your coffee. Dropping knowledge. Yes, second grade level knowledge, exactly. The eraser stuff? Yeah, no, that's good stuff. How to clean your eraser? Come on. Everybody needs to know that. Great. I like the sun's going down, so we might get a little rain. That's going to make things darker here. Maybe we'll turn into like, when the sun goes down, we'll turn into goth mode. I'll turn around, come back, black lipstick, fingernails done, little Depeche Mode on. We'll start drawing about the silence. Grab your pencil. We're 15 minutes in here. Enough with the small talk, everybody. I'm glad you're here. Hang on. We're going to get dungeoning. Okay. Sorry, I'm reading. Sorry, I'm reading. Yes. Oh, they're dropping out. Yes. 1 in 20 odds. Yeah, that's solid though. Yes. So between the eraser and how odds work, 1 in 20 out of 20 dates, like we're pretty much like we could get flagged as educational at this point. Like, we could take this as a school. We could take this to schools and start doing this as a show. Probably. I'll draw. You tell them the odds. Oh, so you want to draw a troll? Great idea. Next time we'll draw trolls. Remind me. All right, some of the exercises I like to start with when drawing, just to get it worked out and work on some of your lines. I like to do parallel lines. It's a great way. Not only are they parallel, but you're trying to get them a consistent width apart from each other. Again, this just gets you working. Let's do some interesting ones this time. We'll do some herringbone-ish, but again, we're trying to do consistent width in between the lines here. Just working on that drawing. I'm going to come back getting a little bigger. Maybe at some point I'll show you a technique of line drawing where you can draw like a ridge. I'm just going to show you this doodle real quick because it's interesting. Line, small bump, line. Okay, see that small bump? All right, this is where the parallel line is going to come in. I'm going to do a parallel line, starting a little earlier, slightly bigger bump, a little longer, over. Check this out. I'm just going to keep going with these parallel lines. And then I'm going to start to make those bumps smaller again, trying to keep these lines parallel. Now, if you look at this, it looks like there's a raised area here. Like everything's parallel, but then it almost looks 3D. It feels like that something is raised underneath a carpet sort of feeling or something, right? It's an interesting doodle. There's some great art that's done with it. Joy Division had a great album cover that was done that way. Speaking of getting gothy. Anyway, something interesting with parallel lines. We'll explore that down the road. Okay, we're just trying some different parallel lines here. I'm going to go made a shape, and now I'm going to try to follow inside of it. A little inconsistent there. It's a little farther here, a little closer there. But again, we're just drawing to get loosened up and get our eye and hand working together. I hear something in the garage. Is it a cat or a person? Good question, everybody. Is it a bird? Supposedly, and I'm the only one who knows this, so I'm telling myself. Supposedly, there is a bird's making a nest in the garage. Look at the light coming up. Scary stories to tell in the dark. Birds making a nest in the garage. Again, sinking these little squares in here. Just working on straight lines and distance from those edges, making them consistent. And this is doing nothing but getting your hand warmed up and getting your eyes working to where your pencil tip is. Like you want almost a direct connection from the pencil tip to your brain. So they're working together. You're seeing where it's drawing, and you know where you want it to go. Like there's this wonderful thing that happens when you start drawing enough and you start doodling. When you can put when you take your, it's a cat that's out there. I hear a cat. I heard a meow. A cat named Chadwick. I'd let him in, but I don't know. I'm worried. He'd be all up in here. When you can eventually take a pencil or a pen, put it to paper, and it's just drawing the lines that you had up here. Like that's the goal in some way. You're taking the images up here, those drawings, those lines, and you're learning how to translate them down to the end of the pencil and have them come out on the paper. And it takes a while. So again, take your time. Remember, you can draw, drink water, don't stress. I think you're cool. Oh my goodness, that cat wants to get in here. All right. Here's some more practice drawing parallel lines, shapes within shapes. We've done circles before. Starting the circle in different areas so we get used to drawing from different areas. Let's do some connecting dots. Right? I'm just going to do a curve. Something smooth to connect over to there. We're just going to have a couple more. Just working on some smooth lines, connecting dots. Making some gentle flowing curves. And then something else we're going to want to work on today for some of this mapping. We're going to put some, give me some random shapes. But then draw them next to each other some. Not too many edges, just enough. I'll go a little bit bigger with this, but they'll be scaled down when we're doing our map. Imagine we have a square. And this is a tile on a map. So I'm going to draw some shapes within here. So we're going to kind of fill this with these rock shapes. Simple, some have a little sharper edge to them. A lot of rocks like this will have a little bit of a curved edge. So I'm just filling it up here. Trying to leave, again, a little bit of space in between those. They don't touch. There we go. There's some stones. Those are stones. And if you did that more, you would essentially have like a paved stone driveway to roll your machines of destruction down. This is where practicing drawing lines close to each other but not touching, getting your pencil or pen to follow along where your brain wants it to go. That way I touch too much. That's why we have an eraser, my friends. And I'm trying to stay within these tiles in a way, just because when you play these games and make some of these maps and creations, you're working in tiles because that's how the game works. You work in tiles, but you could have it cross over the line. It doesn't really matter. Right now, you're just working on making stones that kind of work together to fill a space. You notice a lot of my stones have a similar look to them. Yours will too. I try to get out of doing what I normally do sometimes and be like, all right, those are all, I start small, I go big. So I'm going to start big and then go small on that side. Just different ways you can trick it up, mess with your brain a little bit. I was a little too close there. I wasn't paying attention. Sometimes you don't pay attention and the line doesn't go where you wanted it to go. Don't be sad. Look at that. That has a little curve to it already. That's kind of fun. Like the front of a fireplace or something going on there. Looking good. Looking good. Getting a little darker on that screen. Probably because it's getting darker in here. I'm gonna touch a couple buttons. I'll be right back. I'm gonna see if I can make that a little brighter. Let's see. Yeah, I did it. Hey, I did it. I made it a little brighter. Would you look at that? All right, I'll be right back. 1 second. Oh, hello. Welcome back, me. There we go. Thanks for the good job, Gwendolyn. I know I did it brighter. I did it. Like there's still a lot we have to learn about drawing here with this stuff and doing the thing. That's all right. We're going to get there. We're going to get there, everybody. We got some stone. We got some lines. We worked on some parallel lines, working it out. Again, loosening up the hand. All right, we got about half an hour left. Let's get into drawing a dungeon map. Now we're going to do this in a 3 phases. We're going to do this in 3 phases, all right? Phase 1, we're going to do the general outline by rolling dice, and they'll end up on the paper, and we'll trace around them. That's phase 1. We'll set them out, we'll get a look, we'll kind of phase them out, pull them off, have a look at it, kind of make some rooms, maybe have a couple connecting hallways, things like that. Phase 1. Phase 2, we are going to then define and put in stone, in a way, the outlines of all these rooms in the hall. So we're going to add a thicker line around the main things. We're going to concrete everything. We'll make it real. And maybe then we'll go back in and erase some of the preliminary lines a little bit, just once we get that in. And then phase three, we're going to add some detail work. And this is going to be stuff like around, so imagine this is a room here. The detail work is going to be stones around the side. Kind of give it that map, and then inside we'll do maybe some stones. There's a table. There's a little stool. We'll add some detail work. All right? 3 phases. We'll see how that goes. Again, heading to something kind of like this. So you'll see I rolled these out at some point, and these dice ended up in places. I drew around those. And then you solid up those lines, kind of define everything 100%, and then went back in and did some stone work, did some detail work. Good times. Let's do it. Let's go phase 1. I dropped a pencil. Don't be mad. Forgot I hid a pencil underneath here. You guys gotta look at the background. There's some secret LittlEmpire products back there. Secret LittlEmpire product. Working on some battle terrain. Secret project. Secrets revealed. All right. Sharp as a dart. A little coffee. People have given me a couple notes as in I've been going a little too fast and I don't have enough time for everything. So I'm trying to pace it a little bit more and just make sure you have time to sketch and doodle. Like, hopefully when I'm taking a small break here and there, you are continuing to sketch and doodle, and your imagination's been sparked a little bit, and you can just start to doodle around and stuff. And then some people take different time doing the drawings and stuff. So we're being relaxed, and I'm trying not to get to the end and then rush the whole thing. I wanted to get so much in. I'm trying to bite off less so we can chew more. Another amazing saying right here. Level up with Louie. Okay, I have some objects here. I'll show you them. These are the objects I'm going to put out to make my map from. Just things like you could use all dice, and that's going to be great. Even if they're all just 6-sided dice, roll them out. But you might not have a bunch of dice lying around. You might not be like me and order hundreds of dice off Amazon every couple weeks because you have a problem. So these are some odds and ends. I'm going to pick them up. And again, we're not going to, like, this isn't going to limit us. This is going to inspire us. All right? That's why we're letting random chance get involved a little bit. I'm going to spread them out and see how it goes. Okay. All right. Let's spread that out. Imagine each one of these is a room in a way, or like each one of these is a thing. So I'm just spreading them out so they're not touching each other too much, but that's pretty good. Look, it fills up the page pretty good. Looking all right, huh? All right. Okay, look, there's some Harry Potter music going on in the background. You might not be able to hear it. I put it low, but I like to have music on when I work. So also we might get taken down. Like this whole thing might get canceled because I have copyrighted music going. I'm learning. I'm going to go over to Mira's channel and then ask her about it. And then I found some other music streaming services. Yada da, yada. For me, I'm going to start down here. This seems like a good place to start entering the dungeon. Work your way through. You could start it anywhere. You can start. Let's go over here. Here we go. 1, the entrance. All right. This is kind of diamond shape a little bit. I'm just going to let this inspire me some And again, I'm just doing some light lines. It's kind of a triangle right there. Here's more of an ovally room. All right, you see I'm just doing some very light lines, kind of getting an idea. Here, this looks like, because I want to have some wall space around that, looks like a crazy hallway. Right? There's a room over here. Who's to say what sort of scale this is or how it's going on? Here's kind of an odd-sided, almost cave room over here. And I'm just moving, I'm getting an idea about what that is. I'm not tracing it, like holding it down and going around, even though you could do that. Because this is a nice square. I mean, it's inspiring me to have a very square room right there. But maybe I want that room to be bigger. So I'm going to use that parallel line action I've been working on. And I'm going to just be a little bit bigger with it. But keeping it square by going parallel. This side's going to be a little closer. Something like that. Right? We're getting a feel for rooms. Already it's looking like, oh, what's over there? What's going on? I like this piece being in the mix because it makes me want to put a tower type thing here. It's hard to do that in a top down. So maybe what we can do is there's almost some sort of pit or something here. Again, just kind of tracing it a little bigger. Maybe maybe we can work that in there somehow. Again, I'm doing a little sneaky 3D in here. All right, we'll work that in. Kind of a round room here, into this hallway. Another round room. I want to give it a little funky shape just for fun. A little more stone cave looking room. And then finally, here's the big bad or something. Here's the main room. We'll use that number 3. We'll have that inspire us too, all right? Oh, by the way, that quarter was 2004, everybody. It's a 2004. Yeah. It's a 2004 blurry coin. This last one was a square room, like a die, like a 6-sided die. And we're going to have 3 in there, so I'm going to put like 3 big pillars are going to be in there. Again, just kind of being inspired by the things that were on the table a little bit. 3 pillars. Let's use a little bit of this. This quarter is Missouri, the Arches. It are the Cliffs of Discovery. I don't have my reading glasses on. We'll just say it's the Cliffs of Discovery. So in here, I'm going to put up higher here, there's some cliffs on this side. Cliffs. When you get up to these cliffs, that's what has the doorway to this other room. Okay. Phase 1. Phase 1. We can see it all. It's a little lost in the bright light there. There you go. General map laid out, right? Boom. Fun. Have a sip of coffee or water. Your choice. Ladies' choice. Ladies' choice. Unless you're a man, man choice. Whatever gender you want to be, it's your choice. What you drink and who you are. Enjoy it. I believe in you. You're good. Ice cold water sometimes, y'all. Wow. Okay. Now, phase 1. That's phase 1. Now, phase 2, we're going to... Into phase 1, we kind of we're phase 1 to phase 2 transition. We are connecting, making some connections on these rooms, defining the rooms a little bit. What are they? What might it be? And then starting to add some solid lines to the actual rooms. Okay, got it? I like I like that the entrance almost feels like an arrow coming in. So I'm going to add a little end to that. Move my stuff off to the side here, but keeping it by for inspiration. Okay, I'm just going to look for a second. All of you are doing great, by the way. Even though I can't see anything you're doing, you send me pictures. Here's what I'm going to do. I haven't done it yet, but up here in that part, I don't know if I can do a slideshow, but I think I want to do something to where your drawings show up here in that part. They'll rotate through at a certain point in the show, like 15, 20 minutes in. I'll have that start to rotate for a half an hour or something for everybody's drawings in and stuff, which will be a lot of fun. So you can see everybody else's drawings and see drawings from the past right up here in that part. Instead of it just being static the whole time, it'll be kind of neat. So look forward to that. I just got to figure out how to do a small slideshow in the window. I think I can. If not, I'm just going to have to kind of cycle through them myself. Just cycle through them myself. That cat left. I'm sad now I didn't show you that cat, everybody. Should have showed you that cat. You would have loved that cat. All right. Going to connect these two a little bit. So we're getting rid of that in there some. And what we're going to do is just put a door in this hallway. One of the classic ways to draw a door in D&D, this is the symbol for door. It's a rectangle over that line. There it is. Got two walls here, doorway. So this is our entrance door. This is how you get in. There's this room here. Comes over to this kind of circular room. Now I'm just letting my hand draw some of these thicker lines here. When I get the pen, I'll go over them even thicker, but for right now, see how I'm just connecting some of these rooms together. And then right here, another door, rectangle. Another line, that means door there. Right? You're doing great. This is a hallway. I picture this hallway a little more, so a square might be that. A square is 5 feet by 5 feet. So this hallway is a little more than 5 feet wide, about. That's how I'm envisioning this map so far. Hallway down to here. And then another doorway with a rectangle. Right. It's like I'm talking into the microphone, but it's really just, it's the actual camera I'm talking into. Don't be fooled. Mike's on the computer. I don't know if Mike's on the computer. I don't know who's working today. Again, I'm using those basic lines we did as a general idea, but then I'm kind of making up my own too. See how the lines are starting to get thick? It's an idea of a map. And this was, I like the idea of this being the end here, but then something ate through and made a secret door here. I think that's an S. So that's like a door, but it's secret. And then there's like kind of a cave that's carved out by some boring animal. I don't mean boring as not exciting. I mean boring as in it has a drill on its head. Like a jackalope with a spinning horn. Oh, you can hear me? You hear all these thoughts? Oh, sorry. I hope I didn't say anything crazy. Somebody used this cave here. This cave that had something that dug into here, tunneled through this wall a little bit, and then somebody used this cave as a deterrent to make a secret back room back here, another secret door. Your adventurers are going to have to go looking for that. And there's some treasure in here. This is just some secret hidden treasure. Maybe a Zorn. Maybe a Zorn, Deets. Zorn. Crazy body with a mouth on its head sort of thing. And arms coming out the side, right? Something like that. Little feet down here. Maybe one big eye like this. Something like that. I think that's what this Zorn is like. Yeah, it was probably a Zorn. Look at those teeth. All right, so in here is there's going to be a sunken area, sunken down a little bit. And then there's treasure in here and stuff. But again, we're just doing the outlines around here. We're not doing any of the detail work yet. We're just getting an idea. All this can change, though. This is our outlines. I like this room being another circle like this. But then I have this like a fallen pillar. Like maybe there's a pillar right here that's standing. I'm just going to go around like this a little bit. Because when you look down on a column, you can kind of see those edges. So imagine this is a pillar that's fallen. Getting a little sketchy in here. Those lines, you got all those little hiccupy lines like that. That's how I get sketchy a lot. I try to clean it up though. But I'm trying to do a little 3D here in a way with the broken pillar in a room. I'm trying to get away from sketchy lines all the time. I do a lot of sketchy, get a lot of sketch. That's just how I do a lot of drawing. I really appreciate the people who can do just long, straight movements. Yeah, just easy peasy movements. The Zorn, Elemental, from Plane of Earth. I'm going to say I remember a picture of the Zorn, like first edition monster manual in there, or Fiend Folio, one of those. All right, so that's that pillar kind of fallen in that room. Here is another doorway here coming through. And then this is another cave type situation. And I'm just letting my hand go a little bit on some of these. Like, they don't have to be perfect lines. We're just making something interesting. And as you go, you're kind of talking it out loud and having fun with it. My feed looked a little frozen there. Tell me if my feed gets frozy at all or anything so I can know. Don't know what it was doing. It was just being rude. And then this final room back here. And then this will have a door, but it's up here. And then again, 3 columns. All right, so that gives us a basic idea. Great. That's kind of phase 2 right there. Looking all right. We have a map made from things we threw down onto the table. So that's pretty fun. Hopefully you have something that looks different than mine. Like, hope you've made different rooms, connected things different, made different choices. I like this map. Maybe one day I'll turn this into adventure. Comes in, this is all stonework, this is all carved out. Some Zorn came through, ate through the earth here. Somebody used that to their advantage. There's probably still a big hole in the floor. You have to go around this edge using an athletics check before you can come around, and there's a secret door here. Somebody has a treasure vault hidden away. Wife bought a set of golf clubs. She's like, I don't want my husband to know I golf all the time. Hides them down here. The queen. That's what's going on there. Hi, Joan Plays D&D. Welcome, everybody. Hi. So we're doing a map. We're doing an adventure map I created by rolling some pieces down, traced them, and now I'm kind of making up stories and playing along as I go. Just practicing some drawing. Everybody's practicing a little drawing today. This was Adventure Map Day. We've done some monsters in the past, some trees. So that's it for the phase 2 now. Now we're going to get into phase 3, which is detail work. You could leave it right now. You could actually adventure with this map. Draw this out as you go along big, or use minis on this, or play around. Like, that's enough to run an adventure on. But if you want to add some detail in here, let's get into that. Let's get into deciding what's in some of these rooms. And I'll just show you a couple of my techniques for walls and floors and textures, things like that. One thing I like to do is give the walls a thickness. So there's like, all this inside here is the playable area, where your adventurers can be, inside the map, right? There's a big double door there, inside the map, adventuring, hanging out. So outside of here is, in effect, negative space, in a way. If you're doing art in a way, that's your negative space. And that can be filled up with anything. And at some point, we might go back to one of our classics, a guy named Dyson Logos, who does a lot of amazing maps. His work is featured in a couple of D&D books recently. He has this one down. We worked on this before. We all worked on that sort of fill pattern, which is a great fill pattern for the edges of maps. But before I just put that fill pattern in everywhere, I again like to add a thickness to the walls. So this is where those parallel lines are coming in. I'm going to come around, and I'm just going to do a basic little bit of a thickness to these walls. And where they're close together, I'm going to kind of end it like that. All right, I'm going to do a little bit in half silence, just so you see what's going on. Some places like this, like, this is a combination of 3D and 2D here. I'm not quite sure how I feel about that, so I'm kind of letting it go for now. This is the entrance, the start. Usually I start with a couple nice big stones right there at the entrance to show where it starts. And again, this is the walls going around. In here, because these two walls were so close together, it kind of bloop, bloop, bubbles them together. All right? So I'm just going around and doing walls around the outside of my map. Since I'm here, I'm just going to finish it. Now you see I have outline around everywhere. Those are the walls. So then, another detail inside of those areas. I'm gonna use our classic 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. I should be paying a little more attention to it so I don't get a bunch of groups of funky parallel lines here, but we're just going for speed here a little bit today. You should take your time with all these maps and then run through this whole lesson again and just get into it, let your imagination go. You can see just having an idea about what the landscape was gave somebody an idea of what the creature could be who created that landscape, the Zorn. Like, that's the sort of imagination your mind should be on as you're working on maps. And that's half the fun of playing D&D is getting to play D&D. Making characters, making maps, thinking about the larger world, and thinking about scenarios that are going to come up, different ways that you can interact with different players. Like, that half the fun of getting to play is getting to there. You get what I mean here with me. So I'm just going to pull this up a little bit so you can maybe see these hash marks that are coming in here. As you know, the zoom isn't the best on this guy. You can see a little bit what I'm filling in there. Boom, 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 boom. I'm just going to finish this little section here. Right? That area is filled in. On the outside, what you need to do is you come do that for a few, but then you just let the lines go. You don't have to follow them up too thick everywhere. They're just going to fade off a little bit. Okay, we're about 5 minutes from 4, and we usually go for about an hour. I'm going to go a little bit longer. That's the basics, though. You'll go around the map, adding some lines in like this, just to give your map that edging that's interesting. Right? And then you can see where my wall kind of shows up, which separates the blankness of space from the map a little bit, giving it a little bit of interestingness there. Right? You'll take this, continue around. So I'm gonna work in this area a little bit here. We got our door coming in. All right. We have a cliff edge here. Way to show that that's raised up higher. Kind of pick a point. Imagine this is a circle here, this cliff, this is a circle. You're going to pick an imaginary point, like the foci. I think I said that right. Here, we're going to be drawing little lines that are parallel to each other-ish, but pointing in towards that foci a little bit to give this the feeling that it's raised up. And as we get around these edges, I'm going to make them a little bit smaller, like the cliff is coming in a little bit. This is a little bit higher because that's the higher part of the cliff. Right? Now, down along the bottom here, I'm just going to throw in a couple unconnected lines to give it the feeling that that's the bottom of that cliff edge. Now, in there, I'm going to put a couple little rocks, which are just little circles next to each other. Remember, rocks work great in groups of 3. They love being together in groups of 3. Now I'm going to add a couple more little rocks to this room. Little groupings. Maybe over here, there's some big ones along that wall. You can see that. Those lines coming down, a little bit of an edge. This has a little bit of effect of this is higher than this. Great. Great, 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 great. Again, I'm just doing some detail work now for the next 15 minutes or so, and then we're all gonna go. And don't forget to drink some of your water. Some coffee. Trolls. People love trolls. My water is condensating. That's science, everybody. Or as the Gwendolyn would say, hashtag science. It's dripping down here. Okay, here's what's going on. I'll tell you the truth. I'm letting you in on something. Water over there. Dripping, unknowing to me. I didn't know at first that it was dripping onto my paper in the desk right here, okay? So at first when I saw a drop of water there a little bit earlier, I kind of paused for a second and I wiped it away. I was like, am I drooling? Am I drooling onto this paper right now? And I was a little like, well, Louis, this is it. This is how it goes. This is how you check out drooling while talking to a camera that's connected to a computer. Just fade away from the world. Wasn't that, though. The water was condensating and dripped there. So chill out, everybody. No worries. No worries. Thank you, Joan Plays D&D. Thanks. It's been pretty fun. Everybody with me, again, do some of your maps. If you don't like this one, start another one. Random dice, filler lines, a little bit of drawing, a little bit of imagination on the way. Just think, like, what would be neat to encounter here? It doesn't have to make sense. But if you want your world to make sense, please, make it make sense. A little bit of design there. So I can go back to some of these walls in here. And these stone walls, I can then start to give some bricks to. So I can fill those in. Remember we were doing those brick patterns before, but they were not touching. These ones, I'm going to almost have touched the whole way. And this is where map making gets a little tedious sometimes. Because you do have to go in and draw all of these rocks and these bricks. But also it's like a puzzle. And you feel good when you put that last one in. And this is just a random brick laying how I'm going. I'm not really making it up as I go along, but I am doing something like a big one and a couple little ones. And then maybe in some corners there's some big ones. And maybe for a long stretch there's just some big ones like here. And maybe there's a little one again. But I'm not trying to get too tiny on these. This is not super tiny bricks on these here. Right? We just got some brick walls. And eventually all of this will be filled in with brick walls as well. Good times. It's 4 o'clock if you're here for an hour. Thank you for being here. Great. Yeah, condensation drips. One day maybe we'll do coffee art where we just spill coffee on the paper and trace around that and see what sort of creatures we develop from that. It's not drool though, okay? It's not drool. I would hope that if somebody saw me drooling, you'd mention it in the comments or something. So I'm just going to keep going with some of these bricks right now. And again, here's a piece I've done before. You'll see how it feels similar. I have bricks. I have the bricks around the edges, but then I have the filler lines in here, the filler lines, and then the bricks. And the slightly thicker wall lines. And here's some doors. Right down here, here's a door. Some tables, door, bricks, bricks, bricks. Same technique to make that one. I rolled out some dice. Worked out pretty good, everybody. Worked out pretty good. I'm just filling in these areas with little brick shapes, little stones. Don't know if they were laid here or carved here. It doesn't really matter unless you want to think about it. Like maybe this area doesn't have bricks around it because it's more carved out of the stonework there. So it's more just these lines of like large rock. Think of triangles when you think of rock faces, shearing off triangles. And see how that looks a little more like large rocks around those edges. And then this stuff is more placed in stones, like somebody came through and actually built this place. I'm going to finish off going around this edge here. Just quickly, if you're doing this with your pencil and you plan on coming back with pen, some of these can be lighter too, because the pen is what's going to seal it in a way. So these can just be general blobs. I'm just doing some general blob shapes. And then when I come back with that pen, it'll really going to clean them up. Here we go. I'm going to do a door right here. This is my graphic one. This is where you can start to concentrate some. There's a doorway. Classic D&D doorway. You can even come in with your pen and just do all your brickwork with just the pen if you don't want to do it with pencil first. Might give you an idea in some areas to get your hand, like, so you can trace around and get a feel for what you want those to look like. But then you can just show up other places and start drawing them. Not even doing the full around, I'm just connecting some parts here. Right? Great. Great. Yeah, some of this might be all pen work. Like this filler stuff, I did it in pencil because that's what I had, but you might just jump straight to the pen with all this. Or you might just do the whole drawing in pencil and never pick up a pen. Just saying these are some of the techniques, some of the things you can use, some of the ways you can go about it. A couple more pieces for the dungeon. Let's put a couple pieces of furniture in, or a couple like basic symbols, just so you can fill out some of your hashtag not drooling. Yeah, hashtag not drooling. Thank you. Thank you. Eventually you guys would tell me I was drooling. Thank you. You see this long. I'm going to do it one day. I'll test you guys one day. It'll be 3 in the afternoon. You'll be like, what is up? I'll just be, and see if anybody comes up on the comments. All right, a little bit of basic furniture, some basic symbols. You can go in depth with this. Like I've drawn maps where each table, each crate, I've done art. Where I've taken it, I've drawn it, I've taken my time with it, and then I've colored it, and then I've used that and cut it out in Photoshop and placed it in my dungeons. That's all fully colored. I'm trying to get away from those full colored maps. I enjoy them. I like making them, but this new style a little bit is what I'm working towards. I've just been digging this as well. And this uses more symbols instead of fully created art pieces for the furnishings and stuff. I'm going to do them a little smaller here. If they're too small, let me know. I'm going to do them a little out of proportion, but a table. I need to find, not to put too fine a point on it. Say I'm the only bee in your bonnet. Put a little table in this. Table. 4 sides. Really, Louie? You don't say. And here's all I do to make it look kind of wood. 2 little lines. That could be glass. You could do a table, 4 sides, and then come in with just some very light lines Looks like wood a little bit. Wooden table, right? I'm not talking into this microphone. Stools. Here's a symbol for stools. Circle. 4 little lines coming out. Here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to go over to the pen, just so hopefully it shows up a little better. Stool. Table. This is another version of a table. A bench. It's pretty much a rectangle with little rounded ends, like an elongated pill, a little rounded end. Bench for your table. Yeah. Treasure chest. Rectangle. It's as big as a table, but again, I'm drawing these out of proportion a little bit. You just put those 2 bands on it. Symbol for a treasure chest. Got it. You're doing great, everybody. Okay, here's a bed. You need a bed in here, right? Wizard needs to sleep. Almost like you're doing a table. Just put this pillow up here. You can either put a line here for somebody who makes their bed, or somebody who doesn't. Yeah? Here's a crate. You're doing a square. A crate, you get a couple of those insets. And then an X in the middle. Right? Got some basic furnishings going on. So you can place these around in different rooms. You kind of scale them. Usually, again, the scaling of this, if you're worried about scaling at all, you work it out in a grid. Each square is 5 feet, and that's just the general gridding of Dungeons & Dragons, most tabletop role-playing games. Every square is 5 feet, so it'd be 5, 10, 15 feet. Most of these symbols will fit inside of a 5-foot square. Right, this is smaller than my grid up here. You remember our original grid was something like that. So a bed's going to be just over that. A table might be within there. A chest will definitely fit inside of that 5-foot grid. So most of these, a crate will fit, like you might be able to fit 4 crates inside of one grid, 5-foot grid area. 2.5-foot crates. Yeah. Maybe they're 5-foot crates. But just think about that when you're scaling things. Most objects inside of the dungeon will fit inside one grid, which is approximately 5 feet. So just to proportion things out a little bit. Like this might be a small place because it was built by gnomes. It might be huge because it was built by giants. And that's going to change your grid size a little bit. You don't have to think about that right now, though. Just fill it up with whatever you want in your imagination. Everybody, it has been great to be here with you again. That's our drawing for the day. That's it. We did it. Well done, everybody. I applaud you for being here. I thank you for being here. I appreciate you. I'm going to pop back out into full screen. I call it full face hello. There we are. Carbonation. Gwendolyn, I'm sorry. You're just so good at this. I want to bite your style. We did a map. We made it happen. There's epic Harry Potter music right now playing, meaning let's wrap this up. Again, I appreciate all of you. Sorry about the weird lighting. I'm a human. This is my human face. Don't forget to drink coffee if you're into it. If you're not, that's fine. Room temperature. I'll see you next time. I'm going to try for every Wednesday for about an hour or so. We're going to draw. Send me your drawings. Yes, please. Thank you, Gwendolyn. Thanks for sharing some of your style. Thank you, guys. Thanks, Rob. Thank you, everybody. So good to see you. I'll come back again next week. We're going to do a completely different drawing, and then I'm going to be posting some of your drawings as we do this. We'll work that out. I'll have this up on YouTube at some point. You can share with your friends, and then over the course of multiple sessions of this, you'll be able to draw some D&D stuff. That's what I'm drawing for. That's what I draw for. That's what I'm going to share with you. How to draw maps, how to draw creatures, how to have fun, use your imagination, and try to make what's up here get down there. Thank you so much. I appreciate all of you. Be good to yourself. Goodbye.